106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
The total range that I was able to get on my board was Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be range testing my Evolve Carbon GTR and taking you along with me. So jumping straight into it, here's 5 things worth mentioning before we set off. Setup. I'm using the stock street setup on my GTR, that being 97mm street wheels and 36T gears. Temperature. Currently the temperature outside is 11 degrees Celsius or 52 degrees Fahrenheit. Cold weather of course will affect the range. Elevation. The route I'm doing today is a good variation between flat and hilly roads. Weight. At the time of filming this video, I'm 116 kilos with safety gear on, and the bag that I'm going to be carrying with me weighs in at 6 kilos. So in total, I'm going into this ride weighing 122 kilos. Riding style. I'm naturally quite an aggressive rider, but also I'm typically always riding in the Pro mode, unless I'm tackling a really steep hill or I'm racing where I'll be using the GTR mode. I still get to the same top speed as the GTR mode, but I just sacrifice a little bit in terms of the low end torque. I'll be riding on roads all the way today, and I usually kickstart the board just a little bit to save myself that little bit of extra range. I'm tracking the range today using the Strava app and also my GTR remote, and I'll be checking in with you every now and then during the ride. So let's just get straight to it. So guys, I'm just checking in at 75% and I'm on 4.2 miles. Let's keep going. Alright guys, so I'm just about halfway on my range test. Just hit 50% on the battery and my remote's showing 8.4 miles. So it should be a pretty good run by the end of it, especially considering I'll have a few miles stored in the 0% mode. And yeah, I mean in terms of the performance of the board, I've only lost 1 or 2 miles an hour on the top end. But it's definitely still rideable and still a complete blast to ride. Still enjoying every minute of it. It's definitely worth saying that the dope grip that I've got installed on my board is massively helping out with this ride. I'm feeling way less vibrations and I'm able to ride for much longer without getting off and having to take a foot brake. So props to Dope Grip for producing an awesome product. Tarmac, nothing beats it. Guys, 10,000 likes on this video and I'll go through that straight in. And we'll make bets on if my board survives or not. Always fun swerving in and out of traffic. Right guys, I'm not sure if you can hear that, but that's obviously a damaged bearing. But I haven't really got time to replace it, although I've got spares on me because I'm fighting the daylight to finish this range test. Really quick update guys, I've just hit 10% and I've got my first remote vibration. Okay guys, so I've just hit 5% on the battery and the remote is now vibrating at about 5-second increments. So guys, I've just hit 0% on my board and the remote is vibrating frantically. Usually by now I would make sure that I've reached my destination, but I know from experience that this isn't really the end of the board. When it tells you it's 0%, it's not really 0, it's probably about 5 or 6 or 7%. And I know that there's still a few miles left in the tank, so for the purpose of this video, I'm going to suffer just a little bit more and ride this board until it's completely flat and it's got zilch battery. Now I should say for everybody watching that I wouldn't recommend that you ride your board down until the battery is completely flat frequently. I think you'll actually damage these cells in your board that way, but it is useful to do now and then if you want to reset your BMS if you're having any kind of issues with the battery meter or anything like that. Now notice guys that even though I'm riding on 0%, I'm still able to hit 17, 18 miles an hour. So still quite impressive and it will still get you to where you need to go, just a bit slower. So guys, the board is just cut off there. That's the end of the battery. I can't accelerate anymore, but I can brake, which is really reassuring. So if you're going down a really steep hill and you lose power all of a sudden, then you can be safe in the knowledge that you can still brake for just a few seconds before the board completely disconnects. So that's it guys, let's get back to base. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this range test video. The final range that I was able to get on my GTR street setup at my weight was 16 miles until 0%, but then of course we went on until the board died and I got to 17.8 miles. My top speed on this ride was 26 miles per hour. Of course, bear in mind that I'm right at the top end of heavy riders for this board, so the vast majority of other riders can expect to get better performance out of their GTR. I've also done a similar range test in the summer and I managed to get my board to 21 miles. It's worth noting that my board is about 3,000 miles old, so it's pretty incredible that I'm able to get the same range on it now than I did out the box. I also got no remote disconnections at all on this ride, nor do I usually get any, but more on that in the next video. My motors didn't overheat at all either today, but that's because I was riding in pro mode. I'm pretty sure that if I was tackling some of the hills that I did today using GTR mode and flooring it, then my motors would probably have overheated a couple of times. One feature that I really like about the GTR GTR series, and that is especially helpful on long rides like today, is that the GTR remote actually shows the exact percentage of your board as you ride, and I found it always to be quite reliable. In case anyone is wondering why I didn't get the advertised range for the GTR board, which is about 30 miles, I have actually got that range in the past, but that's with riding on eco mode. My average speed I think was still 14 to 15 miles an hour, but getting to top speed, especially at my weight, just took forever, and the ride just went on for hours and hours, and it was actually painful. It's just not typically the way that I enjoy riding my e-board, but it's nice to know that I can get to about that range. I think I got 33 miles on that particular range test. It's worth mentioning that although the battery performance that I can get on my board using the street setup is great, I really wish I could get more using the AT setup. I'd love to get back out riding my AT setup, but the reality is, for a person my weight, the range performance just really doesn't cut it. I am missing out on riding light off-road and trails, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is, I guess. When I factor in riding to and from group rides, I'm really only left with 8 or 9 miles of range to play with using AT wheels, and that's just far from sufficient in today's group ride terms. Also, I would love to get back on AT wheels for filming purposes, so I can focus less on the actual ride and more on the shots that I'm able to get with my camera. Recently, I actually took a fall whilst riding and filming because I carved on the red dots at a traffic light. I think the reality is that just simply wouldn't happen on AT wheels. Anyway guys, that's all from me for today. If you enjoyed this range test video, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video real soon. Peace.